Hello, everybody. It is that time of the month. It's time to talk about the records that I got last month. So this is a December 2025 record haul video. And there should be probably two more videos coming out tomorrow, maybe tomorrow and the next day. We'll have to see when I decide to put them out, but definitely one coming out tomorrow. I've got to spend some time talking to you about my favorite stuff from 2025. That's probably the one that'll come out tomorrow. And then I will talk about my goals for 2026. And that's probably the video that'll either come out late tomorrow or maybe it'll come out on Saturday. We're in the middle of winter break, so days have no meaning anymore. But without further ado, let's talk about the record haul from December 2025. Let's jump in. The very first record I want to talk about is this one right here. Dogwood, More Than Conquerors. I am a big fan of Dogwood. This is a punk band that was on the Tooth and Nail record label back in the day, specifically two albums. This album, More Than Conquerors, and Building a Better Me, are the two albums of theirs that I really just listened to constantly. Loved them so much. And so I was so excited when people at Punk Rock Records put this album out. Now, I did pre-order it months ago, and I pre-ordered the... I don't remember what they called the variant, but it's definitely like an opaque kind of silver. Goes very well with the album cover. This album, I highly recommend checking out. Feel the Burn was a big hit on this album. And let's see. Oh, More Than Conquerors. I didn't get far enough. I was like, I know there's a song called More Than Conquerors. Yeah, it's the very last track. And I just wasn't going far enough. But Feel the Burn and More Than Conquerors were kind of the two big songs off of this album and the two that I listened to the most. So Dogwood, More Than Conquerors. Love this album. You should definitely check it out. So now I just got to get myself a copy of Building a Better Me, which was pressed not too long ago, I believe, by Unoriginal Vinyl, who I love, of course. And so, you know, we'll be keeping an eye out for it. So then I didn't go to the record store very much in the last couple of months, last few months. And a big part of that was just budget related, just trying to make it through Christmas. But one of the first things I wanted to do when we got out for winter break, just something for me, was to go to the record store. So I did. I went to my favorite record store, my record store I talk about all the time, which is St. Marie Records in Fort Worth, Texas. Highly recommend if you've never been that you go. It's such a cool record store. And Wyatt, the owner, is such a nice guy. And I just love being there. Just the vibe is really good. So while I was there, I took my time looking, and my daughter was so patient, which I love. But I took my time looking, and ultimately I ended up finding kind of this new arrivals rack, and these were records that were pre-owned that they had bought. And the records that I picked up for really pretty good prices, and I ended up picking up two because the two together were about just a little bit more than I would normally pay for one record. So one of the records I picked up was this one, which is My Morning Jacket. And this album is, I don't even know if I know the name of this album. I love My Morning Jacket. This might be self-titled. Yeah, I think it might just be a self-titled album. But this is two LPs on yellow and violet colored vinyl. So you can see the violet there. It's really like a pretty purple. And then the yellow, nothing, super remarkable about the yellow. It's definitely a yellow that you've seen before, but I think there's that yellow. The colors do connect to the album artwork. My Morning Jacket is a band that every time I listen to them, I really enjoy them, but I really haven't listened to a ton of them. And so the only albums I have of theirs were, I had a Christmas album and I had Is, which is their newest album. And so this one was one I picked up. This is a Target exclusive, but they, like I said, it was a previously owned record in my record store. And so I picked it up for a pretty good price. I want to say this one was like $22 maybe. So yeah, not bad at all. And really good. So I don't know the album well yet. I can't sit there and riff off like track titles, I don't think. And let's see if they have them. Yeah, I don't think they're on the artwork. So, but overall, just a very, very good record, enjoyable to listen to. And yeah, listen, so one of my favorite movies is the movie Elizabethtown. And there's a scene in that movie where the band Ruckus, which is a fictional band featuring one of the actors one of the characters in the movie, they perform and they play Free Bird. And that is My Morning Jacket playing in that movie. And that was really, I think, maybe my first experience with the band. And I really enjoyed it. But I think if that's what you thought you were getting with My Morning Jacket, you might be surprised. And I really consistently love everything I hear of theirs. The first album I owned of theirs was a Christmas album that was a Record Store Day exclusive. And it definitely endeared me to them even more. So the other album I picked up was Sufjan Stevens' Seven Swans. Now, there were other Sufjan Stevens albums there that I don't own, but this is an album I used to own on CD, and I loved it. And so, and I didn't own it yet, and so I definitely was like, okay, I've got to pick this one up. This album has on it, let's see here. The Dress Looks Nice on You was one of the biggest songs on this record. I definitely remember. And He Woke Me Up Again is a great song. The Transfiguration. There's really just a lot of great stuff on here. The backing band in this is, if you're familiar with the band Danielson Family, I'm pretty sure that the backing band is the family that is Danielson Family. And I grew up with Danielson Family, so I can really appreciate that. So Sufjan Stevens, Seven Swans. And this one's just black vinyl, nothing super fancy there. So then, so I had a pre-order, and then I paid for those two records this month. And then the other albums that I got were from a Christmas gift from my father-in-law. Pardon me. So one of the things that I ordered when my father-in-law gave me money, I immediately ordered basically 3 records. Well, I ordered 2 and I picked one up at a concert, which I'll talk about in a second. So one of the ones that I ordered, I also used a $10 gift card that I had that I wanted a White Elephant Christmas gift exchange, and I bought this one right here, the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring soundtrack. I am a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Like Lord of the Rings, Chronicles of Narnia, Harry Potter, those are 3 of my absolute favorite literary series that have impacted me the most. And I would love to own all 3 of these soundtracks on vinyl. I didn't own any of them yet. So I picked up the Fellowship of the Ring. It was the most expensive of the 3, and the one that Amazon at the time was saying had the least number of copies, although I think that's, neither here nor there. But I've listened to it since then. This is a Howard Shore soundtrack. It's double black vinyl. And it's so good. So good. Plus, that one has a song by Enya at the end. And I just got done over the winter break watching the extended editions of the 3 Lord of the Rings movies with my kids and my wife. And so that was really special because they've meant so much to me, and this was the first time my kids watched it with me. It took us a long time to get through all of them, but I'm so glad that we were able to make it through. So the other album that I ordered and is not in yet, and so I would expect this to be probably here sometime this month in January. In fact, the artist who made this record, we went and saw him live, and one of the things he said is that record was supposed to be arriving at his home a week later. And so I would expect it to be, sometime this month. And that is Derek Webb, Mockingbird. So Mockingbird is actually the first album of Derek Webb's that I ever heard. Now, if you don't know who Derek Webb is, I'm pretty sure I've talked about him before here on the channel. Derek Webb was a member of the group Caedmon's Call, which is sort of like a college rock band in the Christian sort of genre, back in the 90s and maybe early 2000s. And I didn't really listen to them a ton. I knew a couple of their songs. I liked what I heard, but they weren't, I was very into punk rock, emo, ska, and hardcore at that time, and I wasn't really pursuing that kind of music very often. But Derek Webb's solo music really had a significant impact on me. And I've talked about it a little bit in my Substack. If you're not subscribing to my Substack, I'd encourage you to go find me. But his music had an impact on my theology. It really caused me to spend some time sort of questioning and encourage the deconstruction and reconstruction process. Now, Derek Webb sort of famously started making solo music that questioned some of the issues that he took with his own faith at the time, his Christian faith. Ultimately, many years later, he would leave that Christian faith, and so he would now consider himself an atheist or maybe an agnostic, but he still holds respect for, good Christian people, and there's some weight to the way I phrase that, and he's very open constantly to conversation about it, and he's just sort of challenging people in the church, I think, some. His music's meant so much to me. Mockingbird was the first album of his I heard, and it had songs in it that sort of questioned the sort of melding of politics and religion. And this is years, of course, before Christian nationalism was something that people were talking about. But and it questioned the priorities of Christians, and it meant a lot to me. It really inspired me and changed me in a lot of ways. Later, he had an album called Stockholm Syndrome that would change me in some other ways, and that's the album I talked about some in my Substack. But so anyway, Mockingbird has an anniversary edition coming out right now, and so I definitely ordered that on vinyl because it has not been on vinyl in a long time, and I'm very, very glad to have that on the way. I would not consider that a January or a December part of my December haul because I don't have it yet. I haven't hauled it. But what I did pick up when we went and saw him perform, we had tickets to months ago to go see him at a church called St. Martin in the Fields Episcopal Church in South Lake Keller area. It's actually in Keller, but it's kind of close to that South Lake Keller border. And that is a phenomenal church. Highly recommend the pastor there and the church. They've been getting a lot of attention for what I believe is some good trouble. But he was touring on this album, which is his newest album, and this is called Survival Songs. So we had tickets to go see him months ago. There were issues with his flight, and so the concert got rescheduled, and we went mid-December to see him perform. This album is about a 9-song album, 8 or 9 songs, that he wrote that really is specifically targeted towards trans youth. You see through the lyrics of these songs that he has family that he's very close to that are transgender, and these are songs that he wrote sort of to encourage, to comfort, to support, to let them know that there are people on their side, and to encourage them to just be safe and know that they're loved. And one of the things that was so cool about the tour is that if you were a LGBTQ youth, tickets were free, and so I loved that as well. So this album is on sort of a bubblegum pink vinyl, and there's some like blue, like light blue splatter in there, but really kind of a beautiful album. And again, Derek Webb kind of remains one of my all-time favorites. If I was listing kind of top 10 artists, he would be in that list for sure. So that is the haul. There are 5 records here and one that I pre-ordered that's on the way. One of these was a pre-order from months ago. If my goal was, 6 records, which is what we changed it to early in 2025, I only paid for 2 of these records because the 2 of these records were Christmas gifts, along with the pre-order that's not here yet, and the other one was a pre-order that was paid for months ago. So I did pretty good as far as budget goes this month. January is going to be an even tighter month. You're going to see me with far fewer records. If anything, it will be my one pre-order I've already discussed coming in, and I just ordered the new Interscope Vinyl Collective record, which I look forward to talking to you guys about next month. So that's it. What records did you get in the month of December? What Christmas gifts did you get, or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa if you celebrate those days? Did you get, especially if they're records? and which of these might you be interested in checking out. If you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel, continue following me. I am always wrestling with what I want to do with this channel, but I feel a sense of hope and excitement about maybe some of the things I do this year. So we'll see. But thanks for stopping by.